there. My name is Jill Leach-Klajic, and again, I'm the president of the Sonora Writers Group, and I have one of our Sonora Writers Group members, Larry Harwood. He's our guest today, and he's going to talk about his murder mysteries. Larry.
Well, I'd like to tell you about this. Is my new book, the third book in the Dan Ryan series. I should say the Dan Ryan series involves 5 books, and it's patterned in such a way as the first book introduces him as a private eye, takes him on a caper to Chile, and with a lot of trouble. The second book is independent of that series, but this third book goes right back to the first one. Many of the same characters, same adventure, and back in Chile. It's available on Amazon, both in Kindle and in print form. There's a little bit of a mystery right on the cover. If you look on the front there, it says Dan Ryan Mystern. I did that to see how many people would know about that. That's Latin for mystery. So far, only about 3 people have known. And the cover you can see, and I'll read a little bit out of it.
Okay, sure.
Just a little bit from the first page. Now, you folks that are my age might remember back in the 4th grade when the guys and the gals started to circle around, teacher in the middle, and you each read a little bit. And the girls, it was very embarrassing. The girls would just move along and be very fine. And then us guys would start reading. We'd have to sound out our words. We'd stumble over things. We'd skip paragraphs. And I'm still into that mode. Haven't liked it since the 4th grade, but I'll give it a try right here. This is the first page of chapter 1. Dan Ryan sat frozen, holding his fork with a small piece of egg dangling on its end, half between the plate and his mouth. Jenny pumped another cartridge into the chamber of the 20-gauge shotgun. She looked away from the blood pouring on the floor from the 2 men she had just shot. After slipping the safety lever on, she sat the shotgun on the counter. Turning her eyes to Ryan, she saw his astonishment. "Eat your breakfast," she said, in a quivering voice. Ryan got up and walked to Jenny, curled his arms around her, and began to shake. "Perfect," he said. "You did it perfect." A few minutes ago, 2 men entered from the street, slamming the old frame glass door against the wall. Jenny, the waitress and owner of the small breakfast and lunch establishment, gave them less than a friendly look and walked to the end of the counter, waiting for them to choose where they would sit. They paid no attention to her, or to the one other person in the room, Mark Dean, a regular who sat at the first swivel stool at the counter, near the entrance in the front window. The taller man moved towards ahead of the shorter man to a few feet from the table where Ryan sat. "We get what we want this time," he said. Ryan recognized the men. The same 2 who had tried to work him over in Santiago, Chile, while he was on another case a couple of years back. Ryan had sent a knife into the ribs over the short man during that altercation, and he knew the short men probably were hired by a powerful official of the Chilean government, whose son had died as a part of his investigation. The death wasn't his fault, but that could be different than what his father thought. Ryan immediately challenged the taller man for no more reason other than he was surprised to see him. "Messing with me didn't work in Chile, so why do you think it will here?" Both men stepped nearer to Ryan. The taller man drew a gun from inside his coat. "We ask, you talk, understand?" Ryan knew that this standoff wouldn't last for long, and it ended when Jenny interrupted. "You 2 plan on robbing me?" she said. The shorter, chunkier man looked her way and presented an ugly grin. "Yeah, Blondie, give me your money." "Second time this year," she said. "I'll make it easy. The cash box is right here. I'll get it. You can have it." Jenny placed her hand on the counter and leaned over slowly, reaching into the cavity under the counter to lift out the cash box. Then, in a swift motion, she grasped the walnut stock of the 20-gauge shotgun while pulling the hand grip of the pump back and solidly forward, injecting a cartridge into the chamber. As the long gun was raised to her shoulder, the fat man grabbed for his gun from under his belt, but was late. Jenny tugged at the trigger, sending shot, flames, and wad into his neck. He simply went into a pile on the floor. The bigger man yelled something in Spanish, turned towards Jenny. Like his companion, he was too slow to act. Her practiced hand pumped the ejector, sending the spent shell spinning across the counter, and slammed it in a new cartridge. The next shot went out immediately, directly into the tall man's face. His body fell against the wall, then slumped to the floor. Still able to see with one eye, he lifted his pistol and fired 3 shots, intended for Jenny, but instead he smashed the pie rack and the mirror behind it. Dropping his pistol, his hand searched his disfigured face before his body went limp.
Okay.
That sort of sounds like the way it starts out. I have to point out that private investigators don't have to be that violent. In this case, it was not Dan at all that was violent, but he's a very tough guy and he can handle it when it comes.
Wow. And this is your 5th one?
No, this is the 3rd book in this series.
Third.
The 4th one should be out sometime in the spring. And the 5th one I'm just finishing, it should be out by fall. And that's the whole series. I don't know where we're going to go.
Is this your first?
This is the first one. This is the book that takes him to Chile searching for a rich family's son who's disappeared without any particular reason, and the official explanations for his disappearance are very unsatisfying to the parents.
And then this is your...
This one is independent of these two. This is the second one. And in this case, Dan is commissioned by someone to find a lost daughter, adult daughter. And he figures out that there are 5 women that have been abducted, and he traces down where they are and what happened to them.
Okay. So we have One More to Die by Lorance Harwood. And it's the Dan Ryan Mystery Series. And we have Connect the Dots to Murder by Lorance Harwood.
These two.
And The Color of Pain, a Dan Ryan mystery by Lorance Harwood. And
Now, you can get these at the Mountain Bookstore
Okay.
if anybody lives here in Sonora, as well as Kendall.
as well as Nan's.
But,
The,
oh, yeah.
yeah, here's the scoop.
Here's the scoop in Jamestown. And I guess there's a few other places that the president of our club has managed to work out to have our books displayed.
Wherever we can.
She's a vigorous leader.
Thank you, Larry, and thank you for being my guest.
Oh, I'm glad to. Thank you.